your personal life bleeds into your work life, especially depending on where you live in the world, because it matters how much money you make and the things that you have to pay for, and like the division between the two. Like, you want to have kids, you want to have a decent job to be able to pay for said kids, and depending on where you are in the world, you don't get time off when you have those kids.
That's insane. A mother of two? That's insane.
Right, exactly. So I think it stands to reason that nowadays, because there is no work-life balance, like one definitely always is impacting the other, that burnout is a real thing. Like, being overwhelmed is feeling like sometimes it can feel like I have literally zero left in me to like get shit done.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you felt burnout?
Yeah, I think because I'm a type of person that will keep working until my body shuts me down by like getting sick or something. And depending on what's going on in my life, like it's been an intense 2 years of just a lot of stuff in my personal life that, I keep separate from my work life, but obviously it impacts, productivity, efficiency, being present, all those things. I don't even remember where I was going with it. This is how burnt out I am. I don't even know what my point was.
So the correct answer is yes, you are currently burnt out.
I'm currently burnt out. Oh, what I was going to say is that what I do have, which I feel like is a superpower, is that in times of immense stress, I usually have a lot of adrenaline that kicks in. So the adrenaline kicks in so I can go for an extended period of time under said pressure. But then when the adrenaline drops is when I basically I'm down for the count.
Got it.
But I try not to feel burnt out at work anymore. That's one thing that I think I've learned in the last couple of years, that the company, as much as it can be like a family, or, you really want to work hard, and no disrespect, like, those are important things, and you want to feel valued and you want to feel passionate about your work. But the reality is, if you die, Chris, is going to go dark. If you die, they're going to feel sad for a minute and they're going to move on. So you also... They're worried about them. You need to be worried about you.
Totally. I think I read something and it was like, you are just a number to your company, but you're not a number to your family.
It's true. Or to yourself.
Right?
Like,
yeah, valid.
Like, you need to matter to you. And I think that's one of the insights that I realized when I stopped, I don't want to say caring about work, but not giving it so much value, is that I was too attached to what people thought of me at work, and the validation being something I needed to work towards. Once I started to think it really just matters what I think of me. I'm not going to be disrespectful or lazy at work, but people are going to think what they want to think anyway. People are going to promote who they want to promote anyway. I need to just do what I need to do so that I can feel okay every day.
And that's good. And I think in my work life, I'm trying to get there. I'm on the path to getting there.
Yeah.
I'm still a people pleaser. I'm less of, but I'm still a people pleaser. I'm trying to set boundaries.
It's good.
And I'm trying to say no sometimes too, because guess what? You're allowed to say no.
It's hard. It's hard when there's that carrot that's on the end of it, that that you're will I suffer somehow with opportunities or something later by saying no? So it's strategic. You still have to be very strategic about it.
Yeah.
Though I do have moments now where I feel jealous and wish I could be more like Stanley from The Office, where he's like, it's 5:00. I'm going home. I don't care. I don't want to go out with anybody.
Yeah.
You people aren't my friends.
Yeah.
Truly.
Well, valid. But, Stanley in The Office, when he goes home, he's done. But nowadays, when we go home, guess what?
Yeah.
Emails on our phone. We can bring our laptop home. It's always there and it's never really off. When you take a vacation day or a vacation week, Krista, do you set boundaries, or do you do you check your emails?
You're asking me a really interesting question, knowing that I just took some time off of work. I do check my emails. I do.
Did that stress you out or no?
It hasn't stressed me out this week, but there was once upon a time when it would. But I think just because of the nature of the business that we worked in together, that it's just habitual for me to check work emails and be able to access my work email on my phone. That will be a hard habit for me to break, if I'm being honest.
Well, and to be honest, I'm the same thing. I like to know what's going on, regardless if I'm on vacation or not, regardless if I'm in another country or not. I will still check my emails just to stay abreast as to what's happening, even though I'm not there.
Or if something goes like crazy and you can still send an email to basically create the solution so it's not a bigger problem when you get there, guess what? I'm going to deal with it right then and there. I'm going to send back the email being like, do A, B, and C.
Yeah. But still, like, there's that work-life balance.
Yeah. Well, it's understanding of like what is an emergency and what can wait.
Totally.
Because the reality is you could give blood, sweat, and tears and they could still decide at the end of the year that they want to go in a different direction and they want to, realign teams and create different, rename teams to make it, oh, well, this team they were part of innovation. Now they're part of, reliability, and it just like renaming things. It's just old shit with a new name. Then all of a sudden you're not important anymore. And then you're like, really, was it worth me responding to every single email as soon as it came in my inbox, knowing at the end of the day, I'm not a part of their strategy anymore? Yeah, those are the kind of decisions I make now where it's like, this can wait.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They don't like it. Well, good thing is I have my LinkedIn profile really updated and ready to go. So that's up to them.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about burnout, there is a stat that says that over 50% of employees experience burnout. I find that a quite low number.
I was going to say that it's a lot lower than I thought. I was going to say maybe like 70%, but...
Yeah, I have, to piggyback onto that, a Gallup study found that 23% of employees reported feeling burned out at work very often or always, while an additional 44% felt burnt out sometimes. So then 67% of them either feel completely burnt out or sometimes burnt out.
Sometimes. Got it. It makes sense. It's hard to juggle work. It's hard to juggle your personal life. It's hard to juggle all your responsibilities as an adult. Also work out, also eat well, also get your X amount of hours of sleep. So of course you're going to feel overwhelmed and you're going to feel stressed at times.
And it's really hard to find a solution that's actually tangible, because people are like, well, you just need to be present. You just need to have a schedule. You just need to get 8 hours of sleep. Okay, but what if I can't fall asleep, Susan? Like, what do I do?
Yeah, exactly.
What if I have so many thoughts I can't be present because I'm thinking about the deadline? They seem like simple answers, but they're actually very nuanced and complicated. And it's not, it's not a one-shot solution.
No, or like when people tell you, oh, it's okay, just relax. Like... Thanks.
All the thoughts I had, that never came into my mind once. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
All of my problems have been solved.
Just by relaxing.
I think also we kind of are touching on it, like the workday is longer because we do look at our work emails on the weekends, after hours, replying to it. So there is no separation between work and home.
Yeah.
And that has a mental toll. One of the things that I struggle with at work is always having to make decisions, like decision fatigue, or not even make decisions, come up with ideas. Okay, we got to innovate. We're going to have a whole day strategy session where we're just going to brainstorm. Okay, and then now you need to go into this training so you can be a better leader. Guess what we do in the training? You're in breakout groups where you got to brainstorm again. And it's like, do you think Steve Jobs had this amount of brainstorming he needs to do in a day? Like, homeboy, pickings are slim. Like, pick one. Like, I can't give you ideas all day, every day, and then come into kids and then give them solutions, and then, figure out solutions for my own life with my family and my spouse or whatever. Like, it's draining.
It's draining. And that's why people, have anxiety attacks or panic attacks, because they get to a point and then they just, explode, or something happens or whatever.
Because they bottom out, because you need to recharge. Even an athlete has to have resting and recovery in their schedule in order to have like optimal performance. And that doesn't translate into the working life. They're like, no, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. It's like, but that's not how you get to like Olympic level results.
Yeah, they want you just to stay on the hamster wheel, right?
Yes. I think also it's an interesting topic nowadays because it's getting a lot of attention, is the idea of remote work and be able to work remotely. And a lot of companies enforcing like RTO policies of returning to the office. And how, I don't have a stat that supports it, or do I? I think I have a kind of stat is that people felt more balanced when they were able to work remotely versus going into the office. And
absolutely. When everyone was forced to work from home, then they realized, oh shit, I don't need a commute. I can throw in a load of laundry between my meetings.
Yeah.
I can be present with my kids in the morning, and I can, I don't have to pick them up at 6 p.m. right when daycare closes. Like, there's so many benefits to working from home.
And cost benefits too. I think organizations and corporations are like, well, it's collaboration, and people who stay home are lazy. And it's like, but you as an executive get to park every day in your premium spot that's underground. You don't need to scrape your car off in the winter to get home. You probably get a bit of a budget to that helps cover your gas and all that. Other people have to pay that. These are costs. But I can't afford a nanny the CEO of Yahoo or something who's leaning in bullshit. It's daycare is expensive. It is really, I can only assume, but it's these are all costs that add to stresses. So of course, people who are making that type of money that have to have those type of expenses want to be at home.
Yeah, exactly. But now, like you said, companies are gently forcing employees back into the office, and employees are saying, why?
Exactly. Oh, but look, you can have your own locker and you can sit at this long table beside everybody else
and start my day then, pass.
It's I get to drive in a minimum hour and a half of traffic every day, of which I can't do anything but be in traffic. It's not like I can work while I'm driving.
Right. And then you're starting your day off stressed. You're in traffic, or your train is delayed, or whatever. You're going into the office and you're already tense.
Yeah.
That's a great way to start your day.
Something's happened, you're stressed because you want to get there on time. There's been a couple times where I was stressed because I thought I had left early enough, and then I thought I was going to be late, and then I have a meeting right as soon as I get in the door, so I'm scrambling. Now, open concept, I don't even have a desk anymore, so now I need to figure out where I'm going to sit, remember where I'm sitting. It's like parking a car every day. I need to remember where I'm sitting for the day. I need to remember where I park my car for the day. These are all decisions and things in our mind that people take for granted at a certain level in their career, where it's I don't have executive status. I don't got a driver. I need to account for these things all in my mind. And there's only so much that can go up here in my old age, right? At this point, info is checking out and dementia is checking in. So we got to be careful.
But it's so true. And also I'm going to go back to the family. It's oh, does my kid need to bring anything to school? Oh, I got to pack their lunch. Got to make sure they have a water bottle. Oh, is it a spirit day at school? Okay, they need to wear blue and white. I got to remember to do that. There's so many things you have to remember. And by the time I get to the office, I'm already is it 5 yet? I'm exhausted.
You also have to prep. You got to pack your own lunch because you can't afford you can't afford to buy your lunch every day.
No.
Bills to pay. So you got children to raise.
Exactly. So it's by the time you even get to work, you're tired. You're I'm done. My body, my stress, I'm done. Thank you.
A Microsoft study found on average remote workers worked 4 more hours per week during the pandemic than they did before. So I know that those type of studies are always suppressed, but the reality is if you give people control over their schedule and you've hired quality, competent people, they will do the work.
Yeah. Well, I believe it, right? You have more time.
Yeah.
Because you're not commuting. So that gives you a few hours on each end, and if you like what you're doing and you have some things to do in the evening, then you'll open up your laptop, you'll work on some things in the evening. But when you're at work and you have to be present and you have to commute in and you have to have meetings with people, that's just exhausting.
Well, yeah, because it's one thing is you don't have control over your schedule, and some people are better working at different times of the day. And, granted, it doesn't work in every situation. So I'm not saying, but because I have to commute to the office every day. Well, what if I want to commute at 11 a.m. and stay till 7 p.m.? Is that cool with you all? No, it's not. You expect me to get there for 8:30, leave at 5 to 5:30. And it's I can't be productive every single hour of that time frame. And in that work environment versus being remote, I don't have the opportunity to get up and take a mental break and put in a load of laundry or go down to the corner store and grab something real quick just to have that moment of just clearing out your mind and stuff. You're just I'm here at the desk, I'm here in this long table sitting with 14 other people. A lot of them are Gen Zers who overshare. I'm being completely overstimulated by all the noise, but yeah, collaboration all the way.
Yeah, exactly. But if you like going to the office, then you do you.
Of course. I don't speak on behalf of the world population, but I just want to have control of when I go into the office and in the hours that I work. Yeah. That's the biggest thing, is that the organizations and corporations had a loss of control over that, and they're trying to rein that in slowly but surely.
Yeah.
But of course, I think we've talked about, like, this impacts our health, these feelings of stress and overwhelm that are downplayed by these same companies and organizations. Are like, we're like a family. It's like, okay, but I'm stressed out and I'm at risk for a heart attack now. So family, tell me, how are we going to work on this? Oh, well, we're not that type of family.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I just need to take some days for my health, my mental health. Okay, yeah, no problem. But can you attend this meeting? It's just like, are you listening to me?
Does anybody feel safe enough to actually say that, though, in their organization? That they, like, there's stigma still, right? Like, I've been guilty of it in my younger years, where somebody said I need to, like, take a mental health day, or I need to take a break, and I'd be like, you're weak. You should just suck it up. And now I'm like, you are smart.
Yeah, you need that break.
Yeah. But again, I definitely want to acknowledge that I'm speaking from a millennial-based mentality, and depending on your generation, people look at this very, very differently. To add on to your earlier stat about Gen Zers and their feelings of stress, a Deloitte survey of millennials and Generation Z found that 84% of respondents considered work-life balance important, and 50% said it was their top priority when evaluating job opportunities.
Yeah, I'm a millennial, and that's one of my top, let's say, 3, work-life balance. Absolutely.
I would say in recent years, it's become number 1 for me. Before, I'd be like, I'll do whatever it takes to get up the next rung of the ladder. And now, well, because I'm not all the way up there, but, I've had some movement. I'm like, yeah, I want control over my life again. I'm not willing to die on the hill for the company who doesn't ultimately care. I want to point out the same survey found that 45% of respondents were considering leaving their current job within 2 years due to a lack of work-life balance.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
Granted, I also want to say, if you love your work, then it doesn't feel like work, and you're willing to put in the effort and the hours, right? So I want to acknowledge that. It shouldn't, if you're passionate about it, like they say, if you really love something, it's not going to feel like work, so you'll put in the hours. I acknowledge that completely. But a lot of things at work aren't filled with passion. They're filled with problems.
Yeah. It's true.
Ooh, I forgot to validate what I was saying before about working remote or having control of my schedule. A survey, because I love stats, by Owl Labs reported 77% of full-time employees want the option to work from home at least once per week.
Only once?
I know, right? Well, maybe the US is counted in this. I'm not really sure. Like, a lot of companies now are doing the 3-2, where it's like 3 days you have to be in the office. Some are still being like, 1 to 2 is fine.
Yeah.
But 5 days, like, let's just acknowledge that that's just not going to happen unless you're in some kind of position where you have access to really personal and private information that can't leave the building. Then yes, obviously you got to go in. But otherwise, 5 days a week, no, let's give up on that dream. It's never going to happen.
Well, for the corporate world, but further, there are some positions that you need to go in, obviously. But absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. Some you have to physically be there. Like, you're providing a physical service that requires, I completely acknowledge that.
Yeah, exactly.